The wrestling world just exploded with news that nobody saw coming, and honestly the shockwaves are still being felt across every corner of the industry because what we're about to dive into involves betrayals that cut deeper than anyone thought possible, returns that have fans losing their minds, and alliances forming that will reshape everything we thought we knew about professional wrestling. If you're ready to have your mind blown by what just went down, then you better stick around because this is going to be one wild ride. And hey, if you love wrestling content like this, then make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're bringing you all the latest breaking news and analysis. GUSO stepping into the Vision is the kind of move that sends ripples through the entire roster and changes the landscape in ways that most people won't fully understand until months from now when we look back and realize this was the moment everything shifted. The man who fought so hard to establish his individual identity after breaking away from the bloodline, who went through absolute hell to prove he wasn't just another soldier in someone else's war, has now made the decision to align himself with a group that operates on unity and collective power. Think about what this means for someone who spent years being told what to do, being manipulated, being used as a pawn in Roman Reigns' endless quest for dominance. GUSO finally broke free from those chains and became his own man, earning respect and admiration from fans who watched him grow into a legitimate singles competitor capable of hanging with the absolute best in the business. But now he's chosen to join the Vision, and the choice speaks volumes about where his head is at right now, because this isn't about going back to being controlled or losing his identity again. This is about recognizing that sometimes strength comes in numbers and that aligning with the right people can elevate you to heights you couldn't reach alone. The Vision represents something different from the bloodline because while Roman's group was built on fear and manipulation and family obligation twisted into something toxic, the Vision is built on mutual respect and shared goals and a genuine desire to push each other to be better. GUSO joining this faction means he sees something in them that resonates with who he is now, not who he used to be when he was trapped under Roman's thumb. The dynamics this creates are absolutely fascinating because G brings a level of credibility and experience that immediately makes the Vision more dangerous than they were before. He's battle-tested in ways that most wrestlers never experience, having been through war after war in tag team competition and then proving himself as a single star who can deliver in the biggest moments. His addition to the Vision isn't just about adding another body to the group, it's about adding someone who understands what it takes to survive at the highest level and who knows how to navigate the treacherous waters of faction warfare. The roster just got a whole lot more complicated because now anyone going up against the Vision has to deal with GUSO's speed, his striking ability, his ring awareness, and his willingness to do whatever it takes to win. What makes this even more intriguing is thinking about how the bloodline will respond to this news, because there's no way Roman Reigns and company are going to take kindly to G aligning with a different group. The history between G and the bloodline is so deep and so personal that this move could be interpreted as a direct challenge, a statement that says he's not only done with them but he's ready to go to war if necessary. The tension this creates sets up potential confrontations that could define programming for months to come, because eventually the Vision and the bloodline are going to collide, and when they do it's going to be absolutely explosive. Then we have Becky Lynch and what she just did to Seth Rollins and the Vision, which is the kind of betrayal that hits different because nobody expected the man to turn on anyone, especially not her husband. Becky Lynch has always been portrayed as someone who fights with honor, who stands up for what's right, who leads by example and never backs down from a challenge. Her entire persona is built on authenticity and toughness and being the kind of warrior who would rather lose fighting than win by cheating. So when she turned on Seth Rollins and the Vision, it wasn't just shocking because of what she did but because it goes against everything we thought we knew about her character. The betrayal happened in a way that left everyone stunned because Becky wasn't just walking away from the Vision or deciding she wanted to go in a different direction, she actively and deliberately sabotaged them at a critical moment when they needed her most. Seth Rollins had put his trust in her, had built strategies around having her as part of the team, had counted on her to have their backs when things got tough. Instead she turned around and drove a knife right into their collective heart by attacking when they were most vulnerable. The look on Seth's face when it happened told the whole story, because you could see the hurt and confusion and disbelief that someone he loves and trusts could do something like this. What could possibly drive Becky Lynch to make this kind of move though, because there has to be more to this story than what we're seeing on the surface. Maybe she's been harboring resentment about being overlooked or not getting the opportunity she deserves. Maybe she's tired of playing second fiddle to Seth's storylines and his position within the Vision. Maybe there's something deeper going on that we haven't discovered yet. The complexity of a real-life married couple working an angle where one betrays the other adds layers to this that you just can't get with other wrestlers, because the emotion feels more real and the stakes feel higher when you know these two people actually go home together. The ramifications of this betrayal extend far beyond just Seth Rollins feeling hurt, because the Vision as a whole is now in a weakened position, having lost someone they counted on and having to question whether they can trust anyone else. Becky Lynch turning on them opens the door for their enemies to capitalize on this vulnerability and strike when they're still reeling from the shock. It also raises questions about what Becky's next move will be, because she's burned bridges with the Vision, so where does she go from here? Does she join a rival faction? Does she strike out on her own as a lone wolf destroyer? Does she form her own group with people who share her mysterious motivations? The storytelling possibilities this creates are endless, and that's what makes this betrayal so effective, because it's not just a one-time shock moment that gets forgotten next week, it's something that will have consequences rippling out for months as everyone deals with the fallout. Seth Rollins now has to wrestle with the personal pain of being betrayed by his wife while also trying to lead the Vision through this crisis and keep them focused on their goals. The other members of the Vision have to wonder if they're next, if Becky's betrayal was an isolated incident or if there are more fractures in the foundation than they realized. And then we get to the returns that have everyone talking because Liv Morgan and Brock Lesnar are both back and their presence changes absolutely everything about the current landscape. Liv Morgan returning is significant because she's been away dealing with injuries and personal matters, and her absence was felt deeply by fans who love her energy and her charisma and her ability to connect with audiences. She's not just another wrestler, she's someone who brings a unique perspective and a fighting spirit that makes every segment she's in more interesting. Her return means the women's division just got a major shot of adrenaline, and everyone in that locker room better be ready because Liv is coming back hungry and motivated to reclaim her spot at the top. What makes Liv's return even more compelling is thinking about where she fits into all the chaos happening with Becky Lynch's betrayal and the Vision's turmoil, because Liv has history with multiple people involved in these storylines. She could choose to align herself with certain factions, or she could decide to be a wild card who plays all sides against each other for her own benefit. The one thing you can count on with Liv Morgan is that she's unpredictable and she's not afraid to take risks, so her presence adds an element of uncertainty to everything happening right now. Brock Lesnar returning is on another level entirely though, because when the Beast shows up everything changes and everyone pays attention. Brock is one of those rare attractions who can make or break storylines just by his mere presence, because he carries an aura of legitimate danger and physical dominance that few wrestlers have ever possessed. His absence had left a void in terms of that top-tier monster heel energy, and now that he's back you have to imagine he's got his sights set on something big. Brock doesn't return just to have random matches, he returns because there's a title he wants, or there's someone he wants to destroy, or there's a statement he needs to make. The question everyone is asking is, who will Brock target first, and how does his return impact the existing storylines involving the Vision and the Bloodline and all the other major players? Does Brock align himself with a faction, or does he remain the lone wolf destroyer who answers to nobody and takes what he wants through pure force? His relationship with Paul Heyman adds another wrinkle to consider, because depending on where Heyman's loyalties lie, that could influence who Brock goes after and what his motivations are. If Heyman is still connected to Roman Reigns and the Bloodline in any capacity, does that mean Brock comes back as an enemy, or does it mean he comes back to reinforce them and make them even more dominant? The timing of Brock's return alongside Liv Morgan's comeback and in the midst of all this chaos with GUSO joining the Vision and Becky Lynch betraying everyone creates a perfect storm of storylines converging at the same time. This is the kind of moment that defines eras in wrestling, because you have all these major pieces moving simultaneously, and the collisions between them are going to create moments that fans remember for years. The matches that will come out of all these developments are going to be incredible, because you have top-tier talent with real motivations and legitimate heat all competing for supremacy. Seth Rollins now finds himself in a position where he has to rebuild trust within the Vision while dealing with the personal devastation of Becky's betrayal and also preparing for the threats posed by returning stars like Brock Lesnar. His leadership is being tested in ways he never anticipated, and how he responds to these challenges will define his legacy. Does he become consumed by revenge against Becky, or does he take the high road and focus on strengthening the Vision and achieving their collective goals? Does he see GUSO's addition to the group as an opportunity, or does he question whether they can trust someone with G's complicated history? GUSO himself is now in the interesting position of being the new member trying to prove his worth and earn the trust of people who might be skeptical after watching what Becky Lynch just did. He has to show that his loyalty to the Vision is genuine and that he's not going to follow in Becky's footsteps by turning on them when it's convenient. The pressure on G is immense, because one wrong move or one moment of doubt could have everyone questioning whether bringing him in was a mistake. But if he can prove himself and become a valuable member of the Vision, it solidifies his transformation from bloodline soldier to independent force who makes his own decisions based on what he believes is right. Becky Lynch is now the most dangerous woman in wrestling, because she's operating without constraints and without concern for anyone's feelings or expectations. She's burned bridges and made enemies and positioned herself as someone willing to do whatever it takes to achieve her goals, even if that means destroying the people closest to her. The fans are split on how to react to her, because on one hand they're shocked and angry about the betrayal, but on the other hand there's something captivating about watching someone embrace their darker side and reject the limitations that were holding them back. Becky is a villain who doesn't care about being the man anymore and instead wants to be the woman who burned it all down, is a terrifying prospect. Liv Morgan returning to this environment means she's walking into absolute chaos, and she has to decide quickly where she stands and who she's willing to fight alongside. Her natural instinct might be to go after championships and prove she belongs at the top of the card, but the faction warfare happening right now might require her to pick a side or risk getting caught in the crossfire. Liv has never been one to back down from a fight though, so chances are she's going to insert herself right into the middle of everything and force people to deal with her presence whether they want to or not. Brock Lesnar hovering over all of this like a storm cloud ready to unleash devastation means that everyone involved in these storylines has to constantly look over their shoulder, because you never know when the Beast is going to strike. His unpredictability and his ability to destroy anyone in his path make him the ultimate wild card in a situation already filled with uncertainty. The smart move for the Vision would be to try to get Brock on their side somehow, but that's easier said than done when you're dealing with someone who has his own agenda and doesn't really care about anyone else's plans. All of these storylines weaving together create the kind of must-see television that keeps fans coming back week after week because you genuinely don't know what's going to happen next. The betrayals and the returns and the new alliances all combine to form a narrative tapestry that rewards long-term viewers while also being accessible enough for new fans to jump in and get invested. This is wrestling at its best when the personal stakes are high and the action in the ring is backed up by compelling stories that make you care about the outcomes. As we move forward from this explosive moment in time, the question becomes, how do all these pieces resolve themselves and who comes out on top when the dust finally settles? Will the Vision overcome Becky's betrayal and emerge stronger with GUSO helping to fill the void she left behind, or will the damage she caused prove too great to overcome? Will Seth Rollins find a way to separate his personal feelings from his professional responsibilities, or will the pain of being betrayed by his wife consume him and lead to his downfall? Will Becky Lynch's heel turn lead to championship success and validation of her decision to burn it all down, or will karma catch up to her in the form of someone seeking revenge? Will Liv Morgan's return lead to her reclaiming a championship and establishing herself as the top woman in the company, or will she get caught up in faction warfare and find herself having to choose between friendship and ambition? Will Brock Lesnar's return result in him capturing another championship and adding to his legendary legacy, or will a new generation of stars find a way to overcome the beast and prove they belong in his league? The answers to all these questions will unfold in the coming weeks and months, and you can be sure that every moment will be filled with drama and action and surprises that nobody sees coming. This is exactly why wrestling fans are so passionate about this form of entertainment, because when it's done right, like what we're seeing here, it combines athletic competition with storytelling in a way that no other medium can match. The emotional investment fans have in these characters and these storylines is real and deep, and that's what makes moments like Becky's betrayal hit so hard and returns like Brock and Liv feel so significant. Wrestling at its core is about making people feel something, and right now, with everything happening, fans are feeling everything from shock to anger to excitement to anticipation for what comes next. So if you've stuck with us through this entire breakdown, then you already know how insane things are about to get, and you don't want to miss a single second of what happens next. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss out on the latest wrestling news and breakdowns, because this story is far from over and we'll be here covering every twist and turn as the Vision navigates this new reality, as Becky Lynch continues on her destructive path, as GUSO proves his worth, and as Liv Morgan and Brock Lesnar shake up the entire landscape with their presence. The wrestling world will never be the same after everything that just went down, and we're all here for this incredible ride.